all my fellow bookworms. I'm very excited to chat with you today about Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare. Chain of Iron is the newest installment in Cassandra Clare's Shadowhunter universe. There's like a million of these books. There's 4 different series so far, all spanning different generations. If you have yet to read Cassandra Clare, I highly recommend go trying her out. I know a lot of people say that she's overrated, but I disagree. I thoroughly enjoy Cassandra Clare. I've been reading her since middle school, and I will continue to read her until she stops publishing books. Okay, I'm popping in for a quick interruption in this video because I have some exciting news. Today's video is sponsored by Momentary Ink. Momentary Ink is a semi-permanent and temporary tattoo company. You order your tattoos online, they ship them right to your door, and if you get the semi-permanent tattoos, they send you ink and all the supplies that you need, as well as little instruction cards. I'm very happy that they are sponsoring today's video, and it goes perfectly with our Shadowhunter books because, you know, they're drawing runes on themselves, so I'm gonna put some tattoos on to pretend I'm a Shadowhunter as well. So again, thank you to Momentary Ink for sending me some tattoos to try out, and as well as giving all of my viewers a 30% off coupon code. So my code is ANGE30, and this will give you 30% off of your tattoos when you purchase from Momentary Ink. I'm also going to leave a link down below in the description that will take you to Momentary Ink's website, so make sure you guys check that out if you're interested in some temporary tattoos. Now I'm so excited and also a little nervous, so let's look at the tattoos that they sent me. I ordered 1 semi-permanent tattoo and 3 temporary tattoos. So the difference between temporary and permanent is that, or semi-permanent, is that the temporary tattoos last for about 3 to 5 days. More of the basic tattoos that you'd like get on like your little hand or something when you were younger. It's more that kind of idea. But they do send you this solution that you put on top of the temporary tattoo to make it look more real, which I think is pretty cool. And then the semi-permanent tattoo can last up to a couple weeks, and the ink actually has a fruit base, so it can sink into your skin as opposed to just sitting on top of your skin, which is why it lasts longer. So I'm very excited to try these out. Let's just go ahead and see what we got. So for my temporary tattoos, the ones that will last a couple days, I got a couple of these. And just a warning, look at the sizes when you buy your tattoos because I didn't look closely at the sizes and I got them way too big. So this is a pretty flower that I got, and I was expecting this to be like for my wrist, but this is really huge. So I'm not entirely sure where I'm gonna put this. I might save this tattoo for the summer and like put it on my back or in between my shoulder blades or something, you know, and then if I have like an open back top or something, it could be cute. But it's a really pretty design. And then the other 2 temporary tattoos I got are an arrow because, hello, we're Shadowhunters, we have weapons. So I'm definitely gonna put this one on. I'm thinking like maybe on my arm somewhere. And then I also got this little wave, and that's pretty cool. I might also save this one for the summer because it gives me beach vibes. We'll see. Okay, so those are the temporary tattoos I got, which will be the easiest to apply. To go along with those temporary tattoos, this is the solution. It's like a little potion. You just like rub this on top to make it look more real. And then I just got 1 set of permanent, semi-permanent tattoos, and they're just these tiny little bees. They're so cute. And what you do is you take the ink that they send you a cute little ink thing. You just put the ink on the stencil, and now the directions say to leave it for like 1.5 to 2 hours. So in my package came all the directions. I already read through these, that's how I know about the stuff. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with the little bee tattoos, the semi-permanent ones, because those take the most time. I'm gonna start with those, and I think I'm gonna put one like on my ankle. I'm feeling like that's the spot for it. Okay, let's do this. I'm excited and also a little nervous. Okay, so I peeled it off from the white backing. Then I'm going to put it on my foot where I want it to go, and then I'm not supposed to touch it. So which side are we feeling, left or right? I'm feeling left. Oh, this is, I really should have had someone help me with this. Okay, this is a really awkward angle. Don't worry about it, folks. It's fine. You see it? It's on my ankle. So now that the stencil is on there, shake the ink bottle and apply the ink all over the top of the design. And then you let the stencil sit. I highly suggest having a friend help you do this. Okay, I'm back. So I put the stencil on and I covered it with ink. So while that is just sitting there soaking up, I'm going to go ahead and go to the temporary tattoos. So these are a lot simpler to apply. So I cleaned my arm, and then you remove the clear plastic cover, place the tattoo down, and then soak the back with a wet paper towel. And it says dab around the edges until the paper naturally slides off. You don't want to like rip it off, that could mess it up. Okay, so then I hold this paper towel on there for like 20 seconds. You guys should definitely use the code for 30% off. It's like an affiliate code for me, so I get like some of the revenue from it, you know. Oh, wow, that came off really easy. Wow, look at that. That took no time at all. And then you take the real teal and you apply it with a few drops. So I guess applying this like blue potion looking thing just helps the tattoo look a little bit more realistic, maybe? Can you guys see it? My crooked arrow! Man, it would have been so cute if I hadn't done that. I'll be back in a little bit to tell you about how the bee's looking on my foot. And then you can go back to your regular viewing. Okay, so I put the tattoo on my ankle the other day, and it takes like a whole day to develop, but now you can see it. And by the way, my tattoo is still looking pretty good. That's such an unflattering angle. But my bee is like still going strong. The temporary one did already wash off, mainly because I was scrubbing at it one day. But those tattoos were good too. So if you just want something like fun for like a day or two, use the temporary one. If you want just like a cute thing that's gonna last for 2 weeks, definitely go for the semi-permanent. They're super cheap and they work great. Okay, anyways, let's jump into the book review. It was so good. I have to say, I don't think it was nearly as good as Chain of Gold. I think Chain of Gold was a 5-star read for me. This is more like a 4.5 maybe. I had a lovely time reading it. It was fun. It was fast-paced. I just adore all of these characters so much. So I was so happy to go back and visit them. If you read Chain of Gold, you know that things were just a mess in the last book. And we picked up a couple months after Chain of Gold, so a few months have passed, a couple things have like settled down a little bit, and the main premise is that there are a bunch of murders happening. Shadowhunters are being murdered as they go out on their nightly paroles. If you have not read Chain of Iron yet, I would suggest leaving because I will spoil you, and I don't want to be a spoiler. So just be aware. Alright, I think that is all I really have to say before I start spoiling this book and just diving into it. Let's go. I honestly don't know where to start. I have so many thoughts, and a part of me just kind of wants to go ahead and jump towards the end because the end was just wild and there's some stuff we gotta talk about. So also warning, if you're in the middle of reading Chain of Iron, I could jump to any point of the book at any moment, so just be aware of that. Okay, yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump straight to the end because the end was just crazy. Everything happened and nothing good, and it was all bad. Tatiana Blackthorn up in here working on her master plan with the demon of hell. Tatiana Blackthorn is just such an interesting character. She was absent for most of this book being with the Iron Sisters, you know, but she's still like masterminding everything that's happening, and I don't know if she understands what she's gotten into. You know, I don't know if she really understands this deal she has with the Prince of Hell. But anyways, he just broke her out of the Citadel. Is that what it's called? I think the Iron Sisters. He just busted her out of there and they're gonna go off gallivanting, doing who knows what. That makes me nervous. She is like out in the wild. That cannot be good. Okay, and then James, Matthew, and Cordelia. Like, what? What is that about? I was so frustrated because James was about to tell Cordelia that he loves her. And then, of course, Grace Blackthorn has to come in. Grace, I will get to Grace later in this video, but she frustrated me so much. I kept thinking that she was going to have some great character development, that she was going to change and not be a bitch anymore. But then here she comes in, busting into James and Cordelia's house, throwing herself at James and making Cordelia run away. And then of course she runs to Matthew, and Matthew confesses his love for her, and then they run away to Paris, and James is trying to get them and he can't, and then Will comes, he's like, I gotta get you to help with Lucy, and wow. You guys know what I'm talking about. It was just too much. Also, can I just say, I know I didn't have my channel back when I was reading Chain of Gold, but I so called that Matthew was in love with Cordelia. Like, I said it from Chain of Gold. I was like, he's looking at her way too much. He's having these weird feelings about James and Cordelia. Like, duh, he's in love with her. And then this entire book, I was like, Matthew is crushing on you, Cordelia. Can you not see that? He has feelings. But I'm concerned that Matthew and Cordelia are going to be in Paris, and Cordelia is going to fall for Matthew. And then we're going to have a love triangle. And I can't do another love triangle with two parabatai and a woman. Like, this is just not going to end well. And honestly, I'm afraid that Matthew's going to die. I have this fear that Matthew's going to die, and that will be the only way that Cordelia and James can be together, because we don't want to crush Matthew. We don't want to break Matthew's heart. We love Matthew, but I feel like he's going to die. I'm very concerned for him. He's like my favorite character. I will be devastated, but I think it's coming. And then, okay, Lucy has run off with Malcolm Fade to go raise Jesse from the dead, except she already did raise Jesse from the dead? Question mark? That was a weird scene. When Lucy goes into Jesse's body and she like commands him to rise, and he does. Like, this hasn't worked the entire book. And now that the little demon part of him has been expelled, now he wakes up. And I'm not buying it. That was just weird, and just, no. Something fishy is happening. I don't know what's going to be wrong with Jesse, but there is something wrong with Jesse. And also, I don't think that they needed to run away at that point. Like, if Jesse just rose from the dead, why are they still running away? Malcolm was like, oh, Lucy, we gotta go. They can't know you did this. But I'm like, what are they going to do? Like, what is their plan? They're going to run off into the wilderness and just do what? If Jesse's already alive, what are they planning on doing? I don't understand. Also, Malcolm Fade learned about Annabelle in this book, and I was like, oh no. And how Lucy told Malcolm that she will find where Annabelle is buried so he can raise her from the dead. I was like, y'all have got to stop. I was like, Lucy, necromancy's not the move. I'm very concerned. I want to know if in the next book Lucy's going to find Annabelle's grave. There has to be some more play with Annabelle where Lucy like finds where she's buried or something. I don't know. I really don't know what's going to happen with the three of them. Jesse, Lucy, Malcolm. Weird. And also weird that they ran away without Grace. Like, Grace was packing her bags to come to them, and then she stopped to visit James. And the way the story was set up made it seem that she didn't make it back to be with Lucy and Malcolm. Maybe they're going to swing by and pick Grace up on their way out of town. I don't know. Is Grace going to be with Lucy, or is Grace going to be wreaking havoc in London? I don't know. There are a couple other couples I want to talk about too before I jump into the meat of this book. So, Alistair and Thomas, first of all, they're so cute. I'm here for it. I'm Team Thomas 100%. But Thomas and Alistair like get together, they kiss, it's beautiful. You think things are gonna be fine. And then Alistair tells Thomas to leave him alone, and he's like, go be with your friends. We can never be together because your friends hate me. And I'm like, this is ridiculous, because Thomas's friends could get over their hatred for Alistair. Maybe not Matthew, because that whole thing. I'm concerned about them. They're gonna get back together, but I think it's gonna be a bit of a rocky path until they can be together and be together happy. And the same goes for Anna and Ari. Is that how you say her name? Ariadne? Okay, I've actually never said her name a lot before. I'm going to call her Ari. You guys know who she is, Anna's girlfriend. Well, they just like got in a fight at the end, and I was like, Lord, I can't with all these couples. Just stop. Just be together and be happy. Also, Christopher and Grace were kind of being set up as a couple in a few scenes. Like, especially that scene where Grace goes into the laboratory and she sees Christopher and they talk. And that was weird to me because I don't like Grace, and as much as Cassandra Clare is trying to redeem her in her flashbacks, I don't like her. Before we get into Grace, let me say a couple things on Christopher. I really like him and I really want to see more of him. I think he is gonna do more in the next book. Like, he's just such a sweet guy, and in his narration, like in his thoughts, he was like, no one ever listens to me, like my friends like me but they don't understand me. And I was like, oh, get Christopher, that's so sad. And then Grace like actually understands him and they have a good conversation about science. And I was like thinking, oh, well, they're gonna like be friends or maybe turn into a couple. But then of course Grace just goes off the rails. Let's talk about Grace Blackthorne. She's crazy. Now we got several of her flashbacks, and I did enjoy seeing her flashbacks because it really helped me understand her for sure. Like, so many things make more sense, and I understand why she's such a bitch. However, we spent all this time getting her backstory, learning to like her, and then we get a couple snippets of her in modern times where she's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be so terrible. Like, maybe I should be nice to these people and try to be friends with them and stop ruining everyone's lives. But then she never acts on those thoughts. So she just is like in this weird state where you kind of want to like her and you want to see her be redeemed, but she just fails at every opportunity, and it's so annoying. Like, the amount of times that she thought about taking the bracelet off of James and she just won't take the freaking bracelet off. So frustrating. And her powers are just interesting. You know what I would have loved to see in this book? More Magnus. There was not enough Magnus in this book. Like in Chain of Gold, he comes in at the end and I was like, oh yes, he's gonna be here for the whole of Chain of Iron. And then we get like 1 or 2 scenes with him, and turns out it's not even the real Magnus. It's Lilith acting like Magnus. So that annoyed me. Now Magnus Bane better make some real appearances in the next book. Like, he better come to town and be awesome. I think he's going off with James, right? James and Will and Magnus are going to get Lucy, right? I think so. Alright, now that I've discussed a lot of the end, let's go back to the beginning of my notes and work our way back to the end. Does that sound like a good idea? Okay, so we have this scene, this great scene where it is James's bachelor party, and they're at the tavern, and Matthew hires a reversed mermaid. And that scene was so funny, where she's like a fish with like people limbs. Oh, that was so good. I was like dying laughing. That was hilarious. But then also, Matthew says James's full name on page 34. Let me say it to you. He says, James Jeremiah Josaphat Herondale. And at first I was like, wait, is that James's real name? The triple J's? I was like, what? I was so shook. I put that in my notes. But then on page 85, we get his real name, I think during the wedding scene. James Morgan Henry Herondale. Now, James Morgan Henry sounds better than James Jeremiah Josaphat. But I don't know where the Morgan came from. Was that a family name? I don't know. But I like that Henry is one of his middle names. That's cute. Speaking of the wedding scene, that was so sweet. I just love James and Cordelia being married and how happy they are together. Just like living together. Like, they don't have to do anything. They're not together, but just being in each other's presence all the time makes them both so happy. Like, that was just so sweet. That was so cute. I love those scenes. Those are like just so good. But also, on the same topic of marriage, I don't understand Shadowhunter adults. Okay, so James and Cordelia are 17. They're not allowed to go out on patrol yet, but they're old enough for the Clave to be happy with them getting married. It's a little weird to me, and I get like times were different and Shadowhunters always get married young, but 17 just felt really young. And then also, I don't understand how Shadowhunters have money. What jobs do they do to have money to furnish a whole house? Like, I guess Will and Tessa bought James the house and furnished it for him. Like, I just don't understand how he could afford that. And how does Matthew afford his flat, for that matter? Just like, how do they get money? Someone explain to me how Shadowhunters survive in the mundane world and like have houses and apartments, but no jobs. Someone explain. Okay, also going back to the wedding scene, I love how Cordelia gets married with Cortana on her back. Like, that's like iconic. Like, okay, queen. She walks in her wedding dress with the sword. Like, wow, I want to be that cool. And speaking of Cortana, wow, Cortana went on a journey this book. The first couple times when like Cortana is like burning her, I was so confused. I was like, what is going on? She hears about Waylon the Smith, and she goes to Waylon the Smith to fix her blade. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be like a cool freaking scene. And it was a cool-ish scene, but the scene with Waylon the Smith just felt weird, and I did not trust it for 1 minute. I was like, you're telling me that Waylon the Smith can just pop out of nowhere, like, bless your blade, you swear your loyalty to him, and it's fine? Like, I don't know, it just felt weird. I also felt like it wasn't a substantial enough scene. She just, you know, decides to be his paladin, like, that quickly. And that made me a little hesitant in that scene. If that scene felt off to me. And I was right, because it was freaking Lilith. I cannot believe that Lilith has been just like pulling all these strings the whole time. I kind of hope that Lilith like joins the team in the next book, you know? Like, I know that she's evil, we don't like Lilith. But how cool would it be if she decides to help them take down Belial, Bellinier, whatever his name is. Like, that would be kind of cool to have Lilith on your side. But I am very concerned that Cordelia now has to fight for Lilith. That scene where Cordelia was about to kill Lucy because Lilith was commanding her, terrifying. I was like, oh no, we can't kill Lucy. And I'm also just concerned that Lilith is gonna like call up Cordelia at random times and be like, hey girl, need your help. Like, that's gonna come back into play. Cordelia is gonna like do some stuff. I don't know, maybe Cordelia will be the one to kill Matthew through Lilith. Who knows? I don't know. Okay, but then Cordelia also went to Paris without Cortana, so we gotta get Cortana back to Cordelia somehow. I have no idea how that's gonna happen. Alright, let's address the overarching plot here, because I've been focusing on little bits. So we have all these people being murdered. And like, obviously we know it has to do with Bellini, whatever his name is, the Prince of Hell that we're fighting. And I was very concerned that it was James. Like, when he was having all these visions and he remembered things and his window was up and like, I was like, oh no, it cannot be James. I was very scared. So I was happy to learn that it was not James, but the fact that it was Jesse is also concerning. Yikes. Now, some of these people, I was like mad when they died. Like Philomena, the Italian girl, I was expecting her to like become friends with our main characters and like join the gang, and I was ready for it. I was like, let's bring in someone new, this could be fun. And then she just often died before she did anything. Tragic. Cordelia's dad dies, Elias. That was upsetting. I wasn't upset as I could have been, because he was just being really disgusting for the past couple chapters. He was acting out at the different social events. He was just kind of being mean. And then he goes and begs James for money, which if you look in the book, if you look at the back of the book, she tells you how much money it would be in modern day. Elias asked James for £5,000, which is a lot. But in today's currency, that's more about £600,000. He's asking for a lot of money, and that scene, oh, that made me mad, and I just felt bad for Cordelia having to relearn her father in a negative light. That was upsetting. I think in the next book, Matthew is going to have to tell everyone about how he killed his baby sister who was yet to be born. I think that this is just going to be a trilogy, so everything has to be wrapped up in the next book. So I'm thinking the next book's going to be really big, but I think Matthew's going to have to confess to everything, and it's going to be like this really difficult, upsetting moment for everyone. But also, his friends are going to love him, he's going to be fine. But I do love that Matthew shared this secret with Cordelia and they just like bonded and had a good friendship. He really needed to tell someone. I'm glad he did. Although, who knows what's going to happen between them now that he confessed his love and they run off to Paris. That's never a good thing. I think that's like all the notes that I wrote. I also don't want this video to be super long, so I think that I'm just going to head and end it here. If I left out anything important that you want to talk about, just let me know down in the comments so we can chat. It was a fun time. I always enjoy going back to Cassandra Clare. I just love these characters so much. Oh, I do have a final question. What's up with the bees on the cover? Like, there's a lot of bees all over the cover. And now this is Lucy, right? I'm pretty positive that this is Lucy, and she's got the little locket. But I don't understand the bees. Someone explain the bees to me. And I can't believe that we have to wait a whole year until we get the next one. Like, I don't want to wait. Again, I'm sorry this video was so chaotic and messy. I just always have a lot of thoughts, and I never know what to go to first. But thank you for tuning into this book discussion. If you enjoyed watching me rant about Chain of Iron for the past like 20 minutes, give this video a thumbs up. And also don't forget to go buy your tattoos from Momentary Ink using my affiliate code, which I will put down below. You can use the link or you can just use the code to get 30% off your tattoos. They're a lot of fun, so you should do them and pretend you're a shadow hunter. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what your thoughts were on Chain of Iron. I thoroughly enjoyed it. What did you guys think? See you next time. Bye.